Somebody had to write that Mario has nipples in this game.
That's true. Somebody had to code that
Somebody
in.
had to 3D model them.
That
What
was
a
actually
lucky
a
bastard.
script correction in this one, and the writer was not gonna cave on it at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have returned for what is
We know you
maybe
missed
my favorite category, which is the best tool or weapon or item of the previous generation.
Number one is Dash for
Whoa.
biggest
Every time.
tool.
Every fucking time. Like we had to stop doing most divisive because Hunter did the same joke.
Followed by
It's the
Sean.
Division 2.
It's always the Division 2. And it somehow gets laughs every time, and it boggles my fucking mind.
Just wait till they make it.
Because
Comedy's
it's a good
something you've heard
joke.
before.
So anyway, this category is
That's why
supposed to
Carlos
be
Mencia is famous.
this category is supposed to be like what if best character was a gameplay category. We play it pretty fast and loose with the definitions, but it's supposed to be like what is your like mechanic, what is your thing that you liked doing, et cetera, et cetera.
Or just like, hey, remember this thing? That was funny.
Yeah, it's like it's not quite. We will have moment or sequence coming up in a different episode, which is a different thing, but
But the
We're-
same thing. Like,
yeah,
this is like, remember that thing.
This
And then moment or
category
sequence
is-
is like, hey, remember that thing?
yeah.
This category is a bit of a Swiss Army knife.
A Swiss Army man.
A tool.
A Swiss Army man, it farts at various times. But anyway, kicking it off, Ryan, what is your number 5 best weapon or tool?
It is reintroducing to the masses the hurdy-gurdy from Sea of Thieves. Really,
Yeah.
all the instruments in that game. That one turns out to be my favorite. But I just love you're just sailing your ship. Everyone gets together, and somebody's on their squeeze box. You're sitting there playing your hurdy-gurdy, and it all kind of like matches up and fills out this big sea shanty thing as you crash into a bunch of rocks. I'm not a huge fan of the game, but I'm a huge fan of the
It's a
hurdy-gurdy.
good. The whole instrument mechanic's really, really good. I can back you up on that one.
It's a good gird.
Good gird.
A good gird feel.
Yeah. It does.
That being said, since it doesn't like do anything, there's only so much you can talk about this good hurdy-gurdy. It's a morale booster.
It is, and I think that's a big part in Sea of Thieves because your morale is low the whole time, and then you stop playing forever. But it has a good hurdy-gurdy.
It has maybe one might call it the best hurdy-gurdy of the generation.
Okay,
Mhm.
we have the hurdy-gurdy man in Generation.
Yeah, piss off.
I would. All right.
It's got the best gird. You heard?
I heard the gird is the word.
Please save it for Schick Hydrobot presents Hurdy-Gurdy of the Generation.
Featuring.
Hold on,
Quiet.
one more. Surf and herd. Surf and gird, whichever you prefer.
Cheese
Cast
gird.
your
Is
votes
this
below
anything?
in the
Is this
comments.
anything? So moving off of the gird, gird is life. My number 5 is a weapon in a game that like this game is okay, but it gets huge points with me literally because of this single weapon.
PUBG.
This single weapon made me buy this game because of all the stuff I was seeing about it. And I think only Hunter can back me up on this, but it's the hammer from Monster Hunter World.
Oh, yeah, that thing's great.
They basically, so all of the different weapons in Monster Hunter are kind of just like good at, they have like, imagine like a stat screen and they all like, okay, well, this is good at attacking and defending. This one's good at range and attacking. This thing is a gigantic fucking hammer that is really good at attacking and movement. It's this giant fucking hammer. You can slide down things, jump in the air, and like do spin attacks and just fucking crack down into things, charge it up, spin it around, bounce off walls, like do just wild shit.
It turns
And-
into Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, it turns you into Sonic the fucking Hedgehog.
No wonder he likes it.
Every time you're hitting something with it, it feels like you're hitting something for the first time. It never gets old. And the joy of using this weapon makes me want to keep playing this game that I really actually probably don't like that much, but I'm looking for excuses to use this hammer. It's profound, and I just love it. The way like you can crack bits of the monsters off with it, it's just great. I love the hammer. But That's really all I can say about it. Is it's the best part of a okay game.
It's got good Smash feel.
Great Smash feel. It's a Smash boy.
How's the peen on that bad boy?
It very ball-like.
Ball.
Oh, and the way that fucking Monster Hunter works of like just crafting new things with like different parts of monsters, like every hammer made out of monster parts like looks kind of different, and it's
This
just,
is my Jaggy Peen hammer.
I get it. He said the Monster Hunter. He said
Yeah.
the monster.
I said Jaggy.
Jason, what's your number 5 weapon or
Wait,
tool?
what about Matt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, the order changed. It's now
Oh, that's fine.
Jason next,
I mean-
so you got to listen to me for when I calling people out.
So I'm actually going now.
Yeah, you're going, then
okay.
Sean, then Matt, then Hunter.
Gotta rearrange my frames.
Eat it, Hunter.
Ha, ha, ha.
No, that's
my
Matt's
number,
thing.
My number 5 is the Goose Bill from Goose Game.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay, yeah.
It does everything.
It does.
It's a grabber.
Honk.
It
As
grabs
in,
the hog.
Much like
The
a,
bill
much
of the
like a
goose?
Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much like a Gary.
Sean,
Yeah,
have you
it-
not played
Sometimes
Goose
he grabs things.
I played a little bit of Goose Game.
Sean, the game's like an hour long.
I know.
You're
I
supposed to play
Sean
it
was like
once
Game
I
of the
need to give it
Year.
another try. I couldn't get myself into it.
Sean can't be a bastard for fun.
Ugh,
Sean's too much of a goody two
Sean's
shoes.
too nice.
I've specifically avoided
Sean's got a
mentioning
small
Goose
cock.
Game because I don't want
Sean's the
anyone to
nerd.
think I don't like it.
But yeah, it
Sean
is,
minds his P's and dots his Q's, you know?
It's the conduit
I
for
tell you
through
what.
which you goose.
Some
It's-
people have inner geese, some people don't.
Sean doesn't like Goose Game because he's reminded of himself with the nerd who falls in the water.
That nerd has massive Sean Holloway energy. It is
Oh,
profound.
come on.
Like I think about Sean whenever I see that fucking nerd.
And
When was
you
the
know
last
what
time
made
you
him-
were trapped in a phone booth, Sean?
You know what made him fall? He got honked at and got scared.
It's because
That
he was
was
down the
bitch
town
boy.
square playing with his toy plane.
Okay, where else are you going to play with it? You need to open it.
Right by
Sean-
the garage sale.
Sean, try to redeem yourself. And what's your number 5? Or did you actually get it filled out this time?
Wait, where's Matt?
Matt's after you.
I'm after you.
Oh, okay. Let me rearrange again. No, I filled it out. So this is a game that I forget about so much. In fact, I forgot what it was on my list.
Good sign.
And it is the Mop and Bucket from Viscera Cleanup.
No.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Sean.
We were trying to forget it, Sean.
When
Oh,
we
I
played that again.
I unironically love that game. It's the game that should be the least fun that I got the most enjoyment out of. It makes no sense that it's so like it. I loved mopping.
I don't want to kink shame people, but that is the one. I just don't get it.
I mean, Hunter
I
can
think-
attest.
game
We
is
had a
fucking
great
great.
time. We got gold on all the levels. I think.
I
were doing
remember
an awful
falling
split
asleep at
screen.
Zane's house watching
Yep.
you guys play that, and I wanted to do anything else.
That's how it
Could
works.
not pick up a controller.
No,
I
yeah,
tried to-
you invited me to play. I chose. I would rather do nothing.
Cool.
I
That's how it
tried to get
works.
into it, but there was a lot of like little things in there that were just really frustrating where it was like it didn't quite get to that point of like being like a comfy cleanup thing because there was the chance you would just fucking knock over your mop bucket or your mop would
Exactly.
get soaked with blood.
That game
And it was
shouldn't
just like-
exist.
It was just like I just want to clean stuff up and you're making it less comfortable for me.
It's a stressful cleanup game. It's
It's
like
stupid.
it's like in Pulp Fiction.
It's a really good idea though.
I'm glad it exists. I just don't get it.
I think it's great.
realistic
Matt, please-
janitorial simulator of the post-alien invasion.
Matt, I need you to feed me a game that I understand. Give me something that I can latch on to. What's your number 5?
Okay, well, my number 5, I put Cappy.
Cappy rules.
So, yeah.
That
It's-
shows up
I mean-
somewhere in my list.
Yeah.
I like Cappy because
I-
it's a gimmick in a Mario game that, unlike Flood, fucking whips ass and rules.
And it actually
like-
works.
And like helps the platforming. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cappy is
It's
So
great.
does Flood.
Happy doing happy things is like probably what hooked me into that game.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
And
I realize that this is like the whole point, but it opens the whole game up for you.
And I think it's cool because
And
like
I
that's
really like that.
it's the central mechanic, but like I wouldn't say the game is about Cappy. Like
Oh.
it's
No.
the core pillar of it, but it's not like, oh, this is a Mario game it's all about just possessing shit.
It just feels just like part of the game. Like you don't think about it by the time you're a quarter way through. You're just like, oh, I gotta throw my hat at the thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes the level more fun.
You get to be Yoshi
Basically.
With a mustache.
You can be
with a mustache.
You know,
Um,
level where you're a giant dinosaur.
I remember that I think it was during the game of the year that Odyssey would have been relevant. Like we almost considered doing a whole category of best like Cappy possession.
Yeah.
But I think we
by that point, like only 2 people even had a Switch.
yeah, I was like not enough people had a Switch, and we pretty much just agreed on the best Cappy things.
Traffic cone, right?
I'm a fan of the Moai head. I love my Moai with sunglasses.
Yeah.
Can't beat traffic
The
cone.
dedicated
yes.
sunglasses button.
Cappy's really good.
guy with RC car.
Hunter, I'm gonna throw my hat onto you and have you say what your number 5 item or tool is.
I'm gonna jump up in the air and it's the sticky shotgun grenades from Doom Eternal. I couldn't think of any other transition because those seemed like I just went to those the most out of everything, out of all the Doom Eternal stuff. Because like they did splash damage, obviously, good
Ash,
range.
fix your face.
I don't remember it. I
It's
don't
one
remember
of-
that weapon.
It's one of the sub-grenades.
No, I
maybe
know
you
that,
didn't-
but
Maybe you didn't do it.
but I mean, you have to use everything in that game. Like I just don't
Mhm.
remember it.
But also, I never really used the the scope for the rifle because I felt like I never really needed it since none of the only a couple of the arenas were really big enough, and the
How did you-
sticky grenades worked just as well
How did you kill the scorpion tails?
with the sticky grenades.
Rocket launcher, baby.
Oh, I
Yeah.
always use the
See,
scope.
that's my problem
Yeah, I
with
love
any
the
grenade
sticky
launcher.
grenades.
Is a
That's what I
grenade
ended up
launcher is a
using.
shittier rocket launcher.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but they bounce.
in the first Doom, there was some weapon had a scope, and
The rifle.
and the whole time I was like, this feels like I'm doing it wrong if I use the scope,
Yeah. It was good for like caca demons that were far away or stuff like it's good like
It's good
as
for
you're coming
closing
into
distance,
an arena. Yeah.
like some cleanup of kind of a
Yeah,
I
it's-
just used it to kill the scorpion
kind of a
tails.
visceral
Mhm.
cleanup.
Are there Doom levels in Viscera cleanup detail? I feel like there were.
There, I
Like,
mean,
they were
all of the
modded
stuff in
in.
Viscera is like homages to other horror games.
You
like-
can play Broom. You can unlock the secret broom on the PC in the janitor's closet.
Oh, that was okay. The thing from the last episode reminded you of Viscera cleanup detail. That
Oh
was the
yeah,
thing I was
because you
putting a
said
pin on.
duster, and
I was like hoping that you were gonna bring up Dust Force.
No, I knew that game was coming as soon as Sean said that. I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna
Matt,
fucking
one of
talk about it.
one of you and my first interactions was me saying about how much I liked Viscera cleanup detail, and you not
Me
believing
not
that I
enjoying
wasn't
it.
joking.
Yep, I remember that day at Hunter's house at the Beehive.
Ryan, give me your number 4. I do not want to talk about Viscera cleanup detail again for the rest of my
I
fucking
had to
life.
shoehorn it in.
Unfortunately, it's my number 1.
Oh yeah, I guess
The
Hunter, do you have more to
generation.
say about the grenade launcher? I cut you off.
No, I said pretty much all I had to.
It's
They're
a good
sticky.
choice. I used that throughout most of that game.
But more
Probably
than
all
the
of it.
grappling hook?
I mean, I didn't really.
I mean, you use the grappling hook a lot too, but I mean that's very specific instances.
Grappling hooks are cool. I would
They
compare
are.
using a grappling hook to like waving a flag.
Oh, I fucking knew you were
Or
gonna
driving
say
a
that.
bus or selling a
God,
tent, maybe.
Ryan, what's your number 4?
So this one, it took 3 games to finally get to this point, and it's the last weapon you unlock in the 3rd game. But for the longest
Oh,
time, I
no.
wanted to swing around a bonfire sword from Dark Souls. You beat the last boss, you
Oh,
trade
yeah.
in a boss soul, big ass bonfire sword, and I love it.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah.
Me
Every
too.
time I boot up Dark Souls 3, my character's running around with a bonfire sword, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I had this. This is awesome. You can do big fire blasts. It's all curly and coily, and yeah, good. It's a big ass sword that's was sitting in a bonfire, and that's what I've wanted all the way since the first game.
It's a big flaming
Finally
sword.
got it. Big flame. Well, more
but not
than
a
the big
chaos
flaming
hander.
sword. Yeah, no, the one that you specifically stick into a big old pile of bones and ash.
I think that it's like it is number
An
one
ass.
weird that it took them till the third game, but then that they did it at all. But like
Yeah.
it's this weird like good fan service thing that's also dumb as fuck. My number 4. So okay, Sean, you're needing to mop up a place. And what do you think would be like the thing that could create the most absolute mess? Like what kind of like device could just create a fuck ton of shit for you to clean up?
A spilled mop bucket.
Your broken toilet.
Look, the toilet didn't break that way.
A person-sized blender.
So
A
if you're,
blender-sized person.
if you're playing a game about wanting to cover shit with paint, few things are just immediately as identifiable and useful as a giant fucking paint roller.
Flood.
My number 4 is the Crack-On Splat Roller from Splatoon.
From Smash Brothers.
Um,
Hey,
and I specifically want to mention that, like the one from Splatoon 1, because it was the most broken weapon in the entire fucking game. They made it boldface overpowered and never fixed it, and they totally nerfed it in the second Splatoon. But
Mhm.
it
And there was something about like you had to like know exactly how to use it for it to be overpowered, because there were a lot of people using rollers in that game, and most of them sucked.
it would do a thing where it basically, if you built your character right when your tank got depleted, you could pop your ult, so you would do that, like roll all over the place with each up a shit ton of paint. Then right when it empties, you'd pop your ult, turn into a giant squid, paint more stuff, get deep into their territory. When you get out of your ult, it's refilled all of your paint. So you then just rinse and repeat that over and over and over and over, and it just fucking
Tom
and it's
Sawyer ass.
when I'm thinking about like, hey, I'm playing a game to get paint on stuff. A giant paint roller, like it's like, yeah, that's exactly.
A squirt gun full of paint.
Fuck that giant roller.
paint bucket.
It's like from the moment it also like dunking on people with like the quote unquote like melee or like the close range weapon in a shooter always feels fundamentally good. So anytime I could kill a chump who's using a gun with a roller, I always just felt like I went over on him.
I should play that game more.
It has one of the best single player campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Got
One
deep
or two?
lore too.
I didn't
both.
play the second one, but the first one was really
Okay.
good.
Both are good. But yeah, Jason, I will pass over to you for your number 4.
My number 4 is the meat hook from Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because grappling hooks are cool.
Grappling hooks are
And
cool.
Putting a grappling hook on a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun is even cooler.
I remember when they revealed that, and it was just kind of this thing of like, of course, but like,
Mhm.
hell yeah, like the obvious choice is
I-
often the
I
correct
remember-
choice.
Like, I remember watching the trailer the first time when that gun was in it, and it was like, I was just so hyped for that game, and then that game came out significantly later and came out on the same day as a different game that sucked all of my life away.
Plus, you
Um,
can upgrade it to light it on fire, so that's cool.
I think that Doom Eternal and the first Doom 2016 as well are like, they're both games that like really make us have to have that rule of one entry per game, because I could just talk about pretty much every Doom weapon at least to some extent.
Oh yeah.
Because they're
It's
all
truly,
just so good.
An all-time game feel showcase.
Yeah, it is one of the best feeling shooters ever made.
I love specifically with the meat hook because it's attached to a shotgun, so the whole thing is like you can be pretty far away, close the distance, shoot something, and it just keep doing that, just like shunk, poof, shunk, poof,
Yeah.
and it feels great.
The hook physics when you grab a cacao demon and can just kind of swing around it using like the pivot point, it's just
Mm-hmm.
good shit.
What if Doom Guy was Spider-Man?
What if Doom Guy was Spider-Man? We've long since asked this question. They were both in Tony Hawk, so we both know that they can do a kickflip.
They are in the same universe, confirmed.
Yeah. Sean, what is your what's your fade or the Spider-Man web shooters is your number 4?
In a way, similar. Not really. But in a game that I think just about everybody has mixed feelings about, one bright spot, Metal Gear Solid 5's Fulton recovery device.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Attaching a balloon to people,
Or
also,
anything. A sheep? A tanker?
a big box of supplies. It's also like it really works with the gameplay to incentivize like not killing people, because then you can just like attach them to a balloon. Also, watching people zip up on a hot air balloon
It's good every time.
amazing. Yeah.
The wormhole also good shit. Like,
I don't know if I didn't play. I probably stopped about 6 hours into that. I don't think
you made the correct choice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it doesn't get better.
Yeah, it is that game deeply flawed.
Yeah, everybody discouraged me from continuing, and that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. It's I try to forget that game happened.
Yeah, you just get a wormhole version where it doesn't suck things into the sky. It just warps it back to your base.
Boring.
That's less fun though. I want to watch them like disappear into like a little dot into the sky.
Yeah, but
And,
by
like,
the
trying
time
to
you get
make
to that
sure-
point in the game, you want everything to go as fast as possible because you're really fucking sick of you don't want you want to be free of it, but it's a fucking clicker and you.
But hey,
you
going
gotta
fast
just,
as possible in that stealth game gives you the best grade. So
yeah,
True.
the less you play of that game, the better you do. Matt, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is the flamingo mascot disguise
Yeah.
from Hitman 2.
The flamingo is the like goofy ass super bad disguise from the Miami level, which is like a race car place. And it pretty much puts you at like max
It's a
alert.
racetrack.
Yeah, racetrack. That's the word.
Race car places.
place
Yeah,
car?
you know.
And it puts you at like the it pretty much is bad as a disguise no matter where you go. But
Yeah, you're really not allowed anywhere.
47, like if you let him idle, he'll start doing like little flamingo dances with his just fucking 47 stone face, just doing flamingo dances. You can get some secret exits with it that will let you just fly off with your arms. If you get to like super
Boy, are
high
they tired.
yeah, it's fantastic. Like a lot of the goofy disguises are really good. You can unlock a flamingo suit you take into other levels.
It's fucking great.
So you can go to like this Paris like art museum and just wear a flamingo suit.
And you've got the big ass flamingo head coming off the top of you.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It's very peak Hitman.
It's the best Agent 47, aside from Pitbull.
Yeah, see, that's my big issue is I like the flamingo, but then I can't play as Pitbull.
That's true.
I can't be Mr. Worldwide.
There you go.
Hunter, what is your number 4 and how flamingo related is it?
Not at all. It's
I'm gonna get one of these.
the laser Gewehr, whatever the fuck the laser gun from Wolfenstein is called.
Oh yeah, the one that like disintegrates things.
Yeah.
Oh
'cause,
yeah, that one.
It's got really cool effects, especially the sound, and lasers are cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
the
like
And
it.
then just
laser.
watching dudes like vaporize it's such a cool
And
effect.
that it can like melt walls and stuff. Well, specific walls and stuff.
Great
It's
particle effects.
the laser giver because it gives the enemy a laser.
No, it's the laser Guyver because you become a laser guy when you have it.
It's a fucking diesel punk laser beam, and it's great. The turrets that use it are great. It's good shit. I love just watching that effect happen.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, pretend I said this 2 minutes ago. Laser, I hardly know her.
Up top.
Lay's
Yeah.
do her flavors.
Got
Brian,
him.
please tell me your number 3. We get back around to Hunter, and then every time I'm just begging Ryan to escape us from whatever we've devolved into.
I'm like a void of fun.
It is dog residue from Undertale.
Okay, yeah.
It is an item you pick up that you can't get rid of because you keep getting dog residue on things in your inventory. And I think about dog residue way more than I should. It's so stupid.
Like 3 or 4 times a week, or
Yeah, it's so stupid, but it's so funny of just this thing you can never get rid of because a dog touched it. And everything just kind of has dog residue on it forever.
I mean, it will
after that.
It'll come in handy every so often.
Dog
but-
residue
yeah.
junction.
Yeah. So dog residue from Undertale. It's residue from a dog.
It's a very simple concept, residue of a dog, much like my number 3, which is Ryan brought up having a big flaming sword in Dark Souls 3. And I think that there's a lot to be said about having a big flaming sword in Dark Souls 3, but let me challenge you with this. What if you had a big sword that shot lasers out?
Oh yeah.
My number 3 is my favorite weapon in Dark Souls 3 is called the Twin Prince's Greatsword. In order to get this item, you have to more or less beat the game twice and use 2 differing souls that are given to you by a boss and then fuse them into one weapon. And you get a sword it's a normal greatsword. So, I mean, those are my favorite kinds of weapons in those games. So that's really cool. But it has a special.
Doctors.
Yes, it is. Lothric or Lowain and Lothric. It's been a minute since I played Dark Souls.
That. Little Wayne and Lothric. Yeah.
But it is a sword. Also, all weapons in Dark Souls 3 have like these like special abilities that you can do, and the one for the Twin Prince's Greatsword shoots a fucking laser beam out. This is a
Laser.
Really
I hardly know her.
Because whenever anyone is doing PvP in Dark Souls 3, which I did a whole awful lot of, no one is expecting it. So I'm sitting there with my like great swords, they're kind of like keeping their range, and then I just blast them with a fucking laser, and they never know how to defend against it or what to fucking do about it.
Well, because isn't it in one playthrough you make one sword, and the next playthrough you make the next sword, and then when you do it, even like after it's you've made it, it's just 2 swords that are just stuck together.
It's basically you take like half of each one of them, you fuse them together, and you make this fucking sword. And it's good independent of the laser, so it's not like just like this weapon with a super narrow use. Like you can just use the sword for the sword part. But when doing PvP specifically, watching people think that they're at a safe distance only to get fucking blasted it was so good. I love the twin, and it's also like super good against normal enemies just because it's a fucking laser beam in your medieval fantasy game. It rules. So yeah, Twin Prince's Greatsword, my number 3. Long may it rain, and I will pass to Jason.
No.
You heard
my
it.
number,
No.
My number 3 is the Vorange, or however you pronounce it, from Axiom Verge.
Describe it visually.
Duck Orange.
It's the weapon that shoots like the green lightninginess.
Oh, the shotgun.
Is that? I thought that gun was called something else, but yeah, that's also my favorite Axiom Verge gun.
I'm almost positive that was the right name, but that's the one I'm talking about.
Dash thought it was called the Guyver.
I thought it was called the Cliver.
You might be thinking of a different one.
I'm just looking it up. Are you sure it's not the Cliver?
I am sure.
And we're talking about different guns because the gun I like is definitely the Cliver.
Is the one you're talking about? It shoots like a circle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, circle of lightning. Is yours like the lightning, almost like
Cliver.
laser gun?
Mine is the one that it like shoots out in like a cone that's like it just keeps getting wider and wider.
It's not the one that like auto tracks onto enemies. God, that game has so many cool guns in it.
That game has like 30 weapons in it.
Yeah, like I only have like 7 or 8 weapons, so
most of them are optional.
Right.
Well, they're also randomly put in there, so it could have just been a gun that we've never come across.
Yeah, but still, like, just guns in Axiom Verge are super duper fun, and I feel like everyone kind of has their favorites.
How do you spell it?
TURDGE.
I think it's VORANJ.
I'm also googling it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It just shoots
wiki.
like green lightning.
Oh yeah,
out.
that one. That gun rules.
It makes one of the bosses like crazy easy because you can just like stand there and it shoots up underneath it where its soft spot is. Because
God, that game has so many cool fucking guns.
If you're far enough away, it spreads out enough by then. But yeah, once I got that weapon, I used it for most of the game, unless like there were times where the Cliver was more like very specific to the scenario because it was the only one that went through walls.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was just like shooting enemies normally, that was the weapon I used pretty much once I got it. Unless I needed to be like pinpoint accurate because it's not. Because they can miss stuff. But I like that gun a lot.
Yeah, that one's
I'll
cool.
Finish it someday, maybe.
Sean, what's your favorite Axiom Verge weapon for your number 3 slot?
My favorite Axiom Verge weapon is the glider from Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that's a pretty good gun.
Coming in at my number 3. Really, it's the thing that makes this, like, without the glider, this is a game that I loved exploring. I spent 2 weeks glued to my couch, not doing anything but playing this game. And it's truly a game of organically finding a high place to look out from and then getting to swoop down wherever you feel. And that's the greatest feeling in the world.
Sean loves swooping. You
Men
heard it
love
here
to
first.
swoop.
I love to swoop. I'm
Look out,
a real...
ladies.
I'm swooping in.
Men only
Swooping
want
and
one
pooping.
thing, and it's fucking disgusting.
Swooping. Really the thing that enables the, like, really enables you to use the elevation in that game, and it's great. I love it.
I can back you up on that. But Matt,
Yeah.
do you have something that allows you to swoop as your number 3?
You know, I don't.
One of these days.
I
get it.
have the service weapon. as my
Yeah,
number
service
3.
weapon's so good.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I love the way that it pulsates anytime that you're holding it, and the way that it like rearranges itself when you switch modes.
I
Mhm.
know we-
There aren't a lot of like video game guns that turn into all of your guns. Like Vanquish also does it, but I think I think the service weapon's a lot cooler.
Do we not want to
Yeah.
say what game that weapon is from?
Oh, Control.
Oh,
Sorry,
I've got the service weapon.
yeah, it's like we all know that.
Yeah,
it's
what about all the
But we
viewers?
have an audience.
Okay.
Sean's right here.
Okay, yeah, Danny.
Okay.
Zane might watch it.
Let me just pull up the analytics for the last uploaded videos.
Well, we're not talking
Again.
about any DC
Podcast.
stuff here, so
Yeah.
people will want to watch this.
Oof.
People got to have something to watch when they're waiting for their PS5 to launch.
I bet if you had even called it without changing any of the content, if you had called it the Marvel podcast, it would.
Whatever. Swing and a miss.
People
Hunter,
just don't want to get political and listen to you talk about DC all night.
Hunter pulled me out of this
That's true.
accidental artistic depression. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the Flash. No, it's the Gauss turrets from Risk of Rain 2, because that whole game is about getting items which then stack with each other and make you better at killing things. And the engineer's whole shtick is that his turrets inherit his items. So you place down 2 turrets with like 50 weapon or like attack speed boosts and 2 things of fungus which heal you when you stand still long enough, and then you can just stand in between them, be healed for like half your health each second, and then just watch your turrets kill everything and not moving. It's the class you want to be if you want to turn it into a clicker.
I don't like playing as the engineer, shockingly, but I think the engineer
Dash
is
hates
peak,
clickers. You heard it here.
He's peak Risk of Rain. Like he embodies what that game is in his play style.
I still haven't played as the engineer, and I really want to. I have not even ventured out from the first.
Played
Man,
as
it's
the
good.
engineer. Buddy, I lived it.
They might have changed it now, but with the final boss's last phase, he like sucks
No, that's not a known thing.
Who cares? It's Risk of Rain.
I thought that's a cool moment. If you don't know that,
I don't know what a moment is.
it's a cool moment. We're
Yeah, the next
Next
episode's gonna be rough on you.
Oh, he thought we were talking about mints. Thought we were getting
Five,
more mints.
Number 4.
Moments, mo problems.
Number
am I right?
5, Altoids. Number 4, Tic Tacs.
Number
Okay,
one,
putting Tic Tacs
certs.
above Altoids, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah, that's it. for
Tic
me.
Tacs aren't mints.
You are
they're
fucking
candy.
high if you think Altoids are better than Tic Tacs.
Altoids might be in the running for my number 1.
Oh God. I mean,
Okay,
Altoids
guys,
are
this
good.
is
Don't
not
get me
what this is
wrong.
about.
Listen,
Okay,
I
so,
got a stinky mouth. I need a
but
powerful mint.
every time Ryan save us from the shit posting.
Welcome to the mint of the
Uncanny.
Mint of the decade.
My number 2.
Number 5 mint of the decade, Delaware.
My number 2 is certs.
God damn it.
Number 1, Mentos. My number 2, Tool. is the Wii U tablet for affordable space adventures.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It
no,
is. Yeah, no, it's
it's so cool.
They use everything on the tablet where it's like every button does something, including doing stuff on the touchscreen where you have to like slide sliders and click stuff on and off. You like use the gyroscopes and all that stuff. Like they really put the controller to use in a way that really you don't see done with controllers. Like they try to do it with like the PS4 and shit, but it never quite works out as well. There's the cat.
That's got puss.
Number one best weapon right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted you to go get Luna, and you didn't. So no, you
Yeah.
don't get to fucking claim Luna as this.
She's sleeping.
Yeah, but she
Perry's
could be
not.
sitting.
Yeah, Affordable Space Adventures is super cool, and like it's designed around the tablet, so it really wouldn't work the way it does on anything else.
Yeah, and I think it only exists on Wii U because you can't play it with anything else. What a cool ass game!
Uses
I
every
should
part of the
finish that
buffalo.
at some point.
I should play that game. I would really. I own it on my Wii U. It is. I just haven't played it.
I'm like halfway through, maybe more. I don't know how long that game is, but it's getting to the point where it's like it's really testing out, like doing all this stuff on it. But God, what a cool game! That was my number 2.
My number 2. Okay, so imagine a big old sword that shoots a laser. That's really cool. But what if you had a mace that you could just make be thunder all the time? My number 2 is the Tonitrus from Bloodborne. So in Bloodborne, all of the weapons they can transform into like a different weapon. So like you have like this little sword that you can then transform into like a great hammer. You have like a little saw thing that you can like
I
extend
thought it was
out.
just an okay hammer at best.
Piss off.
Pretty crappy hammer.
You have a
honestly.
pimp cane that turns into a fucking whip sword. The Tonitrus's transformation just makes it electric.
It's
Which
fucking
not only
sick.
are like the back half of the enemies in the game all weak to electric, but the Tonitrus's like trade-off is that it like degrades faster, except it totally doesn't because they still hadn't figured out how to do weapon degradation yet.
Well, it's so
Um,
cheap to repair it. It doesn't fucking matter.
So yeah, it's like there's no downside to making it electric, and there's just something cool
Doesn't
about you're just
matter.
walking along and you just whip out this fucking electric mace and start zapping on people. It rules. It's like the most useful weapon in the game.
Zapping but not capping.
I love the Tonitrus. I get it I will use different main weapons when I play Bloodborne. I will always have the Tonitrus as like my second weapon. It has no downside. It's just great.
Yeah, it's just a great weapon.
Jason, what is your number 2? Give me something with no downside.
My number 2 is the previously mentioned service weapon. While it's not like even close to the thing I use the most for like
That's a downside.
combat, because I mean the telekinetic powers and stuff I use way more often.
It's
just
so
like
strong.
force throwing shit. But the
Yeah.
service weapon just being a gun that like transforms into different things and just kind of the gun, like the service weapon chose you to be the boss. It just was a cool item. Like,
Jason
I think it's more a cool item than a cool weapon.
Jason had 2 guns in a row that are guns that turn into multiple guns.
Oh yeah, the one in Axiom Verge is a
Yeah,
gun.
that's one
all the
gun.
guns.
Yeah.
Jason's
Yeah.
number 1 is the gun from
The
Vanquish.
Turgis weapon.
Yeah, service weapon is dope, and I like the idea of building an entire paranormal society around who a gun thinks should be the leader.
Hey, it's not always a gun.
Control's a cool fucking game. Sean, you haven't played Control. What's your
Please
number
play
2?
it.
I'm 3 hours in and I already think it's really cool.
That's
The
exactly
service
what,
weapon is
that's
Sean's
exactly what a
number 2.
liar would say.
Oh, sorry, I meant to
Actually-
say I hate it.
He's actually
That's
4
exactly
hours
what I
in.
said about Nier.
My number 2 is really just an excuse for me to again say how much I like this game, and that is the Memento Mori from Return to the Obra Dinn. It is a watch that allows you to point it at a dead body and go back in time to the moment that person died. And that's the whole shtick of the game. And it's a great game. Everybody should play Return to the Obra Dinn. Don't look up anything about it. Don't cheese it. Play it. Everybody play it. It's great.
Never
They did
heard
like
of
a big old physical collector's edition of Obra Dinn through limited run, and they did not have a physical Memento Mori in as one of the collectibles, and I thought that was a colossal fuck up.
Damn, that's a shame.
Yeah, because that thing looks dope as fuck.
Also, that combined with the book, whenever you hear the bum bum, like it's just
Yeah,
the most exciting
ugh.
feeling in.
Yeah.
It's great. Everybody play.
When I was sick, when I was younger, I would stay home and I would watch Memento Mori when I ate lunch.
Oh god.
Memento
Oh,
Mori
bitch,
Kovic show.
Man, didn't even wait till Hunter's turn to fucking. You're just fucking busting it out, Matt.
Hunter,
please,
save us from the shitpost.
Matt, you get to save
Oh,
us
no,
from
it
the
is
shit
me.
posting this time.
Heyo. Well, my number 2 was going to be the Tonitrus. But let's switch it up real quick and let's talk about Insight.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Let's
Insight.
talk about Insight.
So for Jason and
lead the
Sean,
way.
largely, you may have played some Dark Souls where you have like humanity, and so you can like pop humanity and it adds to your count. You can use that to like unhollow. Insight is kind of like Bloodborne's version of it, where you get insight when you see bosses for the first time, you beat bosses, and then it's just like a physical consumable item that you can pop. You only really lose insight to a couple select enemies and to summoning people. Other than that, it's kind of just like this thing that keeps building. And what it is it is conceptually your like connection, like you lining your brain with eyes, and it's like the forbidden truth. It's eldritch knowledge. So as you build it up, you will start to, there's certain like enemies, like all of the like really big Lovecraftian horrors are completely invisible until you get to a certain amount of insight that allows you to see them. Enemies change. They'll get like you'll
They'll
see
get
like more eyeballs,
new
and they'll start to
weapons.
mute. Like the game will behave differently the higher your like insight is. There's also
You hear sounds that weren't there before.
Yeah.
if you have really low insight, things even like change in different ways. So it's like they mechanically made madness a thing, or like your
Make
connect again. Like
humanity good.
yeah, it's super duper cool, and I haven't seen it replicated in a single other motherfucking game, and I think that's tragic.
It's really
Um,
cool compared to like so many horror games. Insanity meter.
Yeah,
which
it's
I
like
mean,
uh,
Amnesia's
Oh, I'm in
insane.
dark. Oh,
And
oh,
it's-
no.
Yeah,
it's
it
the
just
same-
everything gets wiggly, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
and
Oh,
it
you got
doesn't
darked.
explain what insight is ever. Like you just kind of accrue it, and if you've played other FromSoft games, like oh, this is like humanity. It's whatever, but it is one of the coolest things about Bloodborne. And no, not one other fucking game does something like it.
And it does it perfectly. Like it's amazing.
Hunter, that's a pretty tough act to follow. What do you have as your number 2?
It was just a service weapon.
Oh, okay. I feel like a real fool not putting the service weapon on my list.
Spoiler.
I also
Ryan,
didn't put it on my list.
Ryan, what's your number 1 that is not the service weapon?
Service
It's
weapon.
better. It is the manual
Kurtka.
from Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Oh, that's such an
Oh,
inspired.
That's so
Okay.
good.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so good.
That's such
a
an
good one.
So for people who haven't played it, the game is a co-op thing where one person has a manual that tells you how to defuse a bomb, and then a randomly generated bomb appears on a screen that somebody needs to defuse, and you read from the manual and tell the other person what they need to do. Dash, I believe, printed his up and got it laminated.
Yep, for easy use. Because goddamn it, do you goddamn need it?
It's just they thought of so much stuff, and just what you put into it, and like your interpretation with the other person that's there. It really kind of brings this fairly simple bomb defusal game kind of into a more communal, real world space.
Figuring out you and your partner's respective language for the symbols game is
Oh, yeah.
super duper fun. Where it's like
I would love for like just like my neighbor to hear just like go like Dexter's a cookie, Dexter's a cookie.
and it's like it's that thing of just like hearing what different people call the things, where it's like if I say Dexter's a cookie, no one's gonna fucking understand what that means, but I know that Ryan will get that if I.
Oh yeah, I
fucking
have Dexter's a cookie burned into my fucking brain.
Yeah.
I could draw it right now.
Do it, but you won't.
Where
It's
is
something. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
that. Oh shit, camera. That is Dexter's a cookie.
Dexter's a cookie.
It's good shit. And there's like Crabman with Trident. It's
Yeah.
inspired choice. And that game without the manual, like they could have made. I don't even know how that game would work, but it needs that manual. I've
Mhm.
brought that game into the office before with my physical manual, and we have just had a rip snorting good time.
Rip if you snort.
It's a good game and a good
It's the
manual, good item.
Tool
One
of
might
the,
call
tool
it
of the decade.
the best tool of the generation.
Yep, that's what it is.
So you
generation.
did it
I'm not
this
gonna
time.
be. Yeah, I'm not gonna be Dash this time.
So my number one, I'm almost a little curious if it has overlap with Matt's because he hasn't said anything yet. But every game, so when you're playing a roguelike, you're often like kind of trying to focus
I was so close to putting it in here.
On,
I
like-
didn't. I was so close.
you're
Is it
focusing
the
like
titular throne?
a single
No.
like build.
It's the titular
And
nuclear.
there are a ton of
Titular
different weapons in
nuclear.
Nuclear Throne that, while they fall into like certain categories, there is one that really reigns supreme.
Yeah.
And even without combining it with any of the mutations, the Splinter Pistol is probably the best weapon in the game. It's just like it fires a spray of like crossbow bolts out, which are really good independent. They deal a decent amount of damage. They have a good spread, so you don't have to like aim too much. So really in the heat of things, you can just kind of fire it in all directions. But where it really like ascends to something great is there's one of the perks that gives you homing bolts. So you will fire it and then shooting like 6 homing things that are just like crisscrossing all over the screen and just like homing onto enemies, and it's super duper good. Like you can beat the game without the Splinter Pistol, but whenever I'm doing my best runs, or if like I'm going for the serious shit and like the highest
You need
scores,
it.
it's always with a Splinter Pistol with homing bolts. It still
It
feels
puts the game in easy mode.
but I mean until you still die
Until it
anyway, because that's how
doesn't,
the fucking
yeah.
game goes.
Well,
And
yeah.
it's when I find this, it's easier to find the perk that gives you homing bolts. But when you find a Splinter Pistol, it's like, okay, this is a serious run now. It's like it takes
Whether you
a
get the
run.
perk or not.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I have a shot at maybe beating my best scores now.
I don't even know if
Um,
I ever found that gun when I played that game.
And like
It's not. I mean, well,
it's not super rare, but there's a window of the game where you can get it, and there's a lot of stuff you can do to manipulate kind of when you get it, which I've incorporated into my run now. It's like everything
big
about
chest,
my run
baby.
to get a Splinter Pistol with homing bolts every single
Yep.
run. Actually,
Big
2 of
chest on
them
2-1.
character that I play, but that's beside the point. But yeah, it's Splinter Pistol's of all of the guns in Nuclear Throne, of all the very fun devices and very fun things, Splinter Pistol is the gun that I think over the past generation that I have enjoyed the absolute most. It's just a joy. But with that, I will pass to Jason to hear his number one pick.
My number one pick was Cappy.
Cappy good.
So we discussed it pretty in detail.
Rareware
good.
Mario cap.
Yep,
Cappy's good.
Cappy good.
Good hat.
Sean, what do you got for Cappy? Also, you can, when you change his hat and like putting the sailor, like the captain's hat on Mario, and Cappy always changing what his hat is. It's just good shit. Cappy's great. I like Cappy. Fuck Flood.
My pick for best Cappy is, and again, I know I just refuse to shut up about this one, but this is the Railroad Hammer from Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. It's the only.
I was so
wor-
curious
I
if it was coming up.
I was wondering if it was going to be the hammer or the cauldron.
Absolutely.
It's junk.
Your only control in this game
It,
is just moving your mouse around, and the head of the hammer follows the mouse, and the camera follows your center of gravity, and it's the whole time you're just trying to learn how to move around. But the hammer, it has 2 distinct ends that have different sort of stickiness to them, and once you get the hang of it, which took me 10 hours, it controls amazingly. Like, you have so much more fluid control over it than you would ever expect, and at that point you're so proud of it. Aww. Anyway, I picked Matt's cat as my number one.
Doesn't your cat have a human name?
Oh
yeah,
shoot, I told myself,
Perry.
Perry.
damn it, I said I was going to say
Oh shit,
the
Matthew
eject
Perry.
button.
Oh,
Forgot to say the
Whoa.
eject button. That's gonna be my funny joke. Anyway, that's my
Sean, that's so funny.
And I was gonna say multi-platform.
go get a
Matt-
gold cauldron already, Sean.
Matt, what's your number one?
God, I wish.
So my number one is something that I know no one else is gonna know anything about, at least in this group. So I'm gonna talk about it pretty in depth. It is the Cyclone from Subnautica.
Mm.
And so you go through this game, you crash land on the planet, you basically only have the escape pod that you landed in. And then as you progress, you go through the ocean and you scan pieces to other machines. So at first you get like a little glider thing you hold on to, and then you get like a little personal submarine. And then you get the Cyclone, which is like 100 feet long, giant ass submarine that you have to get like 5 different pieces for all over the fucking place. But you finally get in it, and it's got like 1,000 storage containers. It's got gardens inside, so you can actually like plant food. But the coolest thing, in my opinion, is that that is the vehicle that you need to finish the game. So it lets you go to like what is essentially the center of this planet that you're on, and you really get into the thick of it. And I fucking love it. The utility of it is great, and it would be cool if it existed in real life, but what it does in the game is fucking dope.
I love any game that has when a big reward when the juice is worth the squeeze on like a big
Yeah.
reward that's being built up to.
What a weird
It's
way
that,
to say that.
that and the vehicle that you build after it are well worth it.
I'm gonna just flat out say submarines are cool.
I agree.
Submarines are cool.
You got
Waving
me there.
a submarine is fun.
I should really try that damn game. Every time Matt describes it, I'm like, I want to try Subnautica.
I would highly recommend it.
I've
It's like
installed
kind
it because of his
low-key-
recommendation.
It is low key a horror game, and
Cool. I like those.
I think it's really fucking cool. I'm playing through the second one, the ice version, right now on PC. It's still early
Subcultica.
access. That's what it's called. It's still early access, but it's really cool. They both are.
Wait, what should I get that on if I get it? 'Cause that's
PC probably.
pretty cool.
Mobile.
It's early access on console still.
Oh, I see.
But the first one I think is finished on PC somehow. I don't know exactly how that works, but I'm pretty sure that's the sitch.
Hunter, bring us out of the ocean and hit me with a number one.
We're going
This
out of
was
the
some
ocean
anime.
and into the sky. So there's a lot of sub weapons for your plane in Ace Combat.
Oh fuck yeah, dog.
Some of them are better than others. There's like the unguided bombs. There's the dogfight missiles with better tracking. But what if you put a big laser on your plane?
I knew
Laser.
when you said Ace
I
Combat 7,
hardly
I knew
know her.
exactly what fucking weapon you were gonna say.
Turns out this was the generation for lasers because this one's real cool. There's one that's just like a minigun laser, which that's needed
I
enough.
hardly know her.
But this one is it fires for like 15 seconds, just a giant ass laser that you're probably going to miss most of it with, but you just kind of have to
point.
line up your plane to just hit the other ones and just explode them.
It turns Ace
Oh.
Combat into Luftrausers in the best way possible.
And like
big ass lasers on things are great.
and it really reminds me of like the end of 5 where you're jousting in a plane against your former wingman who has a giant laser on his plane. It's just Ace Combat's great.
Ace Combat's
How
great.
the turn lasers have turned.
Yeah,
I can
that's
think of
mine.
no better thing to end this on. Truly, this laser-based podcast. Lasers did really good this past generation, it seems.
Yeah, well, the previous generation was the generation of the bow, and this
Yeah,
is the generation
yeah.
of the laser.
When are we getting laser bows?
Next one.
Not soon enough.
Destiny has that.
So is Risk
Yeah,
of Rain
but
2.
Destiny sucks.
oh, yeah,
When's a
fucking-
good game gonna get it?
Risk of Rain 2.
Risk of Rain 2's got one, and it's really good. It's my favorite weapon in there.
Didn't make your list.
I honestly, when you started talking about Risk of Rain, I looked at my list like, oh fuck, I didn't even consider Risk of Rain for this. And I don't know if things would have hashed out differently because this was a very tough contest to begin with, but Risk of Rain 2 is really fucking good. We'll talk about Risk of Rain at some point.
But what about Gesture to the Drowned?
But it's not going to be right now, is when we're not. Oh, man, I should have done just. Man, whatever. Too late. We're not going to talk about Risk of Rain right now because that is the end of the tool weapon item conversation. And I certainly hope that you will join us next time for maybe the actual best category, best moment or sequence.
I'm excited.
It's when we press the eject button.
It's when we
God.
press the eject button. So I'm going to eject us right out of this now.
Good one.